and take you back to one of our leading stories, the Madlanga inquiry. The country's policing policy, I hope that distinction is clear, with regard to the separation of powers has come under scrutiny at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry today. The South African Police Service's legal head, Major General Marga van Rooyen, admitted that there is a significant loophole in the policy when it comes to the separation of powers between the police and the National Police Commissioner. She corroborated the National Police Commissioner's testimony, including that of the KZN Police Commissioner, which basically said that the minister overreached when he took the unilateral decision to disband the political killings task team. For more on this now, we're joined by legal expert Melusi Xulu, who talks to us via the virtual platform. Mr. Xulu, good evening to you. Thank you very much for your time. I just want to quickly extrapolate some of the Major General's testimony there, and this is the point that you and I ought to discuss. And I quote now, while the minister is responsible for setting national policy, the National Police Commissioner, his functions are that of operational function, such as investigations or the deployment of units. Now, here is the kicker. Van Rooyen stated that the correct procedure would have been for the minister to issue a directive to the National Commissioner rather than acting independently. Is that clear to you? Do you believe that indeed we have a loophole here that constantly sees ministers encroaching in the space of the people that are seen as directors general?
Good afternoon to you, Tony, and to the listeners at home. I believe what the Major General today highlighted was separating the functions of or the ways on how everyone must play their role. For instance, if you go to the Constitution and the SAPS Act, it's very specific that the minister oversees and does political oversight of what should be done, but the operations or the operational requirements or setups must be done by the National Commissioner in the police. So in this instance, when it comes to the operations, the minister must not interfere. So that is the important thing that we are seeing. And the occurring theme, Polly, that I'm seeing is that from the first witness to today's witness, we see that there's an issue with how the minister might have played his role, and probably when he comes to witness or comes to give evidence, or when his team is cross-examining, we'll get a clear picture where he got his powers, if he's going to say he had the right to, disband the PKTT or obtain the dockets from KZN and so forth. So it's very interesting that the person who was testifying today is actually a legal head of SAPS and a highly qualified a legal person with a doctorate in criminal law. So she knows what she's talking about. She's been there for some time.
Yeah.
So it was highlighted very clearly that he might have overstepped his powers in this situation.
Let me crystallize my question to you, Mr. Xulu. Not that you haven't answered, but just to make sure that we are all in the clear here. Is there ambiguity in the Constitution or the legal prescripts about the powers of a minister versus the powers of an accounting officer? Do you believe that there is such an issue?
I don't think there is, because like I've said, I wanted to be specific that if you are dealing with the political oversight and you are dealing with the policy part of your functions, then when it comes to operations, that is not your duty. For example, the Major General was very clear. She said for instance, to give an instruction to disband the PKTT. I'm coming to the PKTT because it's the main issue, or one of the main issues.
Yeah.
It was not just to give an instruction to do so. What he should have done was give a directive, and it should have been discussed, and there should have been a consultation. But what happened was in December, he gave an instruction and he said it must be done immediately. So now he was getting into the operations of it. And now here's the question. Why would you disband a unit that is working? I mean, I believe it was this week where Sabelo Pewa in Maritzburg was convicted for killing a municipal manager, Busiso Stole, in 2017. And currently, I think last week there was a bail that was, rejected for one of the municipal manager, if I'm not mistaken, in the Makaka case. So when you're talking of PKTT, it's a functioning unit. So why did the minister overstep and get into the operational aspects of it? So what I'm saying in a nutshell is this. The minister has his function to deal with the political oversight, the legal framework, and also giving policy and directive. But he must also consult and not get into operational matters of what the national commissioners or the accounting officer should do. And that is the crux of the matter, in my view.
Absolutely. I think it is crystal clear. Final question then. The element of intent is always important here to get into. And it is no surprise that I think during the course of the questioning of the Major General today, she also appears to conclude in the same direction that General Mkhwanazi said, and that is that when you watch the events unfold later, it becomes clear, at least in their eyes, that the minister here was acting to shield the so-called criminal syndicates. Do you think that the minister has any other explanation that he could possibly enlighten not just the commission, but the general public as to why he did this? And also crucial is the immediacy with which he wanted this political killings task team to be shut down.
Yes, I want to be careful and not to put the cart before the horse, Tolly, but obviously we'll just deal with what we have for now and also give a benefit of a doubt, at least for now, to the minister when he will come to cross-examine through his legal team the witnesses and also give evidence. But what is clear is that there is evidence that allegedly he was connected to certain individuals. It's in the public domain, such as Kurt Motlala and so forth. So he will need to explain what was his connection to them, and especially also how his decisions benefited, certain individuals in the criminal space, allegedly, I'll say again. Because, the most important thing that Justice Madlanga said was, we need a criminal justice system that upholds the rule of law. And for our constitutional democracy to function well, we need a proper criminal justice system that upholds the criminal, that upholds the rule of law. So if the minister is involved in disrupting criminal investigations, then I think it's a very dangerous, position to be in for the country as well. We need a proper functioning criminal justice system. But to end, Toli, I will say, let us wait again for the minister to come and for those who are also implicated to come and give their side of the story, because we are a justice system that gives everyone their side to explain what happened. But obviously, the allegations are very strong and they're very concerning, but let's give the minister time to explain and see exactly what was happening from his side as well.
Yeah, and I can tell you, the country is possibly waiting with bated breath to hear the side of the suspended minister. Thank you very much for the time being.